guys, and welcome back to our channel. My name is Cath Anne, and I am the host and a top writer at Homework Help Global, and this is the Homework Help Show. On this show, we provide you with valuable content for your academic and student life. Just a quick reminder, every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can join me on Instagram Live, and I will be doing a quick check-in and just reminding you guys to check out some of our new content and our new videos. So I'd love to see you guys on there on live and just check in and do a quick chat to see how things are going. This week, we are giving you a quick rundown of some study methods you can use right now and implement into your life. We also did a recent video on effective note-taking techniques, so that was episode 27, so make sure to check that out for sure. I get it. You're trying to be productive. You're doing everything you can to keep up on your studying. You're studying every night, but it just seems like all the papers and all the exams are piling up. This is why we wanted to give you a set of tools you can work with and that you can implement into your life right now before crunch time hits, because we know it's coming. So the first thing I wanted to suggest is before you start studying, set a pre-study routine. First, always study in the same place every time. This can help you with recall when you're going back and doing your exam. If you remember the place where you studied, then you are more likely to recall the information that you studied at that specific place. It'll help you bring back the memories of the specific information that you studied. Make yourself comfortable, but not too comfortable. You want to make sure that you're wearing something comfortable, but probably not your PJs because you'll be more inclined to fall asleep or want to go back to bed. Grab a snack, grab some water, and a coffee or tea. Okay, now let's talk about the tools you can use to study. One of my favorite methods is the Pomodoro Technique, and as you can see, I've put it up on the board here. It's definitely one of my favorite techniques and something that I've recently applied to my own life. The Pomodoro Technique is a cyclical system. You work in short sprints and then you take a break, and it makes sure that you are consistently productive because you are on this pattern. You also get to take regular breaks, and that bolsters motivation and enhances creativity, which I love. So all you need to do Pomodoro is a timer, and just so you know, the Pomodoro Technique is actually named after the man who invented it used a little tomato as his timer. So he named it Pomodoro because that is the name for tomato in Italian. So all you need to do the Pomodoro Technique is a Pomodoro, or in other words, a timer. First, you choose your task to be accomplished. So if you wanted to study chapter 1, that would be your task. Second, you set the Pomodoro to 25 minutes, and that is all you need to do this technique. You work until the Pomodoro rings, then you put a check on your sheet of paper. So this is really important because it's going to help you, it's going to show that you've accomplished something, and this is going to help keep you motivated. So when you check off a task, that's going to help keep you motivated. So make sure you're doing that. Take a short 5-minute break. 5 to 10 minutes is the max that you want to go for your break, because then you'll break the cycle. So you work for 25, it rings, take a 5-minute break, maybe do a little walk around, take a glass of water, and then you go back into another 25-minute session. So then you complete 4 of these rounds, and finally on the 4th round, you take a longer break. So this might look like a 15 to 30-minute break in the end, and then you jump into another round of 25-minute study sessions. So when you take your longer break, you're going to want to do whatever you need to do to feel recharged. Maybe you have a sip of coffee, go for a little walk, do some stretching, and then that'll help you feel recharged, and then you're jumping back into the 25-minute cycle again. So that's the Pomodoro Technique. I highly recommend it. There are some great apps out there that you can use to kind of time, and you can always just use your phone, your timer on your phone if you like as well. So I wanted to also discuss beware of the forgetting curve. As you can see, I have made note of it right here. So when you're learning new information, there's a tendency to forget. And at the beginning of when you learn new information, this tendency is very steep. Forgetting naturally occurs when there's no attempt to retain the information. When you're studying, make sure you review your notes every 20 minutes to help you retain information. So you read something over and then you want to review it again 20 minutes later. So you can also use other interesting strategies like certain scents. So for example, maybe you wear a certain perfume or burn a certain candle when you're studying and you're studying a specific topic, and that can actually trigger your memory because it'll be associated with other things in your surroundings. Sitting in the same spot, as I already mentioned, or listening to classical music, these are all ways to kind of stimulate those other areas of the brain and help you to retain information and make your memories more vivid. So check that out. The stronger the memory, so when you're adding these other aspects in, it's going to become a stronger memory. So I really recommend doing this because the stronger the memory, the more you are going to retain it. Finally, we will talk about the use of spaced repetition, and this is also a really great study strategy. Spaced repetition is a practice which gives the brain exercise it by spacing out the information in longer intervals of time. Okay, so according to research done on the most effective way to learn, spaced repetition allows us to retain information for longer periods of time. So that means that we will not only remember the things that we learn for the exam, we will remember them when our degree is completed. So oftentimes we study just to pass an exam, but if you're in a professional field and you really want to retain that information, this can be a helpful mechanism to use. So spaced repetition works by asking you to review information at an increasingly long intervals, because then that helps your brain to remember it. You can set up the system by yourself, but there are now lots of online applications that you can use that you can set up on your phone or your computer. So I suggest looking into that. One example is a system called Clever Deck, which is actually a series of online flashcards. So this can be a really great way to set this up for you, and it is also already broken down into the spaced repetition method. But as I mentioned, you can do it on your own. And if you want to set this up on your own, you can use flashcards organized in a box. Pretty basic, but it really works. Create sections based on which information you know most and which information you know least. Set up a schedule for when you will revise the cards in each section of your box. If you answer the card correctly, you put it into the section that you will revisit less frequently. So that would go in the section of information that you already know pretty well. Whereas if you get the answer wrong, you're going to want to put it back in the information that needs to be revisited more frequently. So then that is going to space out the time between when you are learning the information that you know more readily, and it's going to give your brain a chance to learn the new information that you're not as familiar with. Spaced repetition takes advantage of the way your brain stores information, and it can be more effective than note-taking and other ways of studying. So highly recommend this. Check it out online. There's lots of info out there. But yeah, so really good way to learn. Finally, I wanted to share an interesting tidbit that I learned while I was doing research for this, and it is that the Times New Roman font is the easiest font to retain and read. Because it's easier to read, if you write your notes in this font, you will be able to read faster and more efficiently, and it will stick in your brain longer. So it's interesting because I'm not a huge fan of Times New Roman font. However, if you are in academia, you will recognize that most professors get you to write in Times New Roman. So I thought that was a really interesting technique. So try typing your notes in Times New Roman and see if it has any effect on your retention of information. Okay, so that's it for me this week. If you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you're looking to connect with us, we have all of our social media platforms linked in the description box below. And if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you'll have an opportunity to stay in the loop and get more of our information. That's it for me this week, guys. I hope to talk to you soon. Join me on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time live on Instagram. I hope this video was a benefit, and take care.